I try to live my life that every day I'm getting better. I never want to arrive. And when I finally do arrive, well, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
In glory, that I will be smoking and have nothing left inside of me because I will have used everything I ever had on this side, and then I will have arrived. But until then, I'm running this race and I'm taking people with me and I'm having the time of my life.
Hello there, prosperity seekers, and welcome to another episode of the Prosperity Approach with Allyson Chavez. I am so excited and just so grateful that you're here spending some time with us today, either listening to the audio or watching this on YouTube. I'm always so appreciative that you would spend some time here with us, and I promise that this is going to be time well spent today. We have a very special guest on who is going to talk all things mindset and overcoming obstacles and never giving up and getting back up. And I think that's a message that we need now more than ever. But before I bring her on, just a couple of quick reminders. If you're listening to the audio version of this episode, be sure you're following the podcast on your favorite app. And if you're watching this on YouTube, we sure would appreciate if you would subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified every time we drop another episode. So I have to tell you about Kamie Lehmann. Kamie is amazing. She has been a speaker, a coach, a top leader, a visionary, a strategist, and a trainer in direct sales for 29 years. So already she's near and dear to my heart because I spent 13 years in the direct sales industry. Kamie left her job in corporate America 28 years ago to be a work from home mom. And this is where her entrepreneurship journey began. In March of 2020, Kamie launched a top rated podcast on iTunes called She's Invincible, which ranked at an all-time high of number 42 in the business and entrepreneurship category. She has since helped many others launch their own top podcasts. And I actually had the great honor of being on her podcast. And I loved her so much. I was like, I got to share you with my audience. Kamie's passionate about helping women discover their greatness, increase their worth, and expand their vision. She's the owner of Kamie Lehmann Coaching and Consulting. And Kamie launched the She's Invincible podcast school in March of 22, where she teaches other entrepreneurs how to launch their own top podcasts and monetize their businesses through them. And she has a book coming out called Invincible You, and that will be available soon. And you've just celebrated your 3rd year of your podcast. Kamie, oh my gosh, welcome to the show.
Oh, Allyson, it's so great to be here with you. And I love that you mentioned that you were on my show because that was such a joy and what a great conversation that we had. And I just love the friendship we built from that moment and the connection that we have. And it's an honor to be here with you today.
Oh, thank you so much. And we're going to be talking about overcoming obstacles and things, but I do want to mention podcasting right now for just a second. If anybody's ever thought about doing a podcast before, I had a business coach who said the best time to start a podcast would be about 5 years ago, or maybe 10 years ago at this point. But the next best time is to start one right now. And people can feel so intimidated by that. But I'll tell you what, my podcast has been one of the greatest blessings in my life because it's brought me into contact with people like you. And it's just such a beautiful platform to spread our message, the things that are really important to us. And it's so much darn fun, isn't it?
It is so much fun. And I love what you're saying here. And that is exactly why I do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I just, and especially after the pandemic or even during the pandemic, that the podcasting went from 2019, we had 850,000. And today, 3 years later, we have over 3 million. So that's how much podcasting has grown in 3 really short years. So just before the pandemic. So when I launched my show, we were at the 850,000 mark. And today we're over 3 million. And it is amazing. I'm so passionate about it because it has become the new way for marketing and advertising and getting your message out there and attracting your ideal client. And it is 100% on the bullseye. This is the way to do it. It's the most cost-effective way. And it is always right on the money, and I love it.
Yeah,
So
and
fun.
I love too that nobody gets to tell me what I can or can't do or say on my podcast. Like I get to be me. I get to wear a t-shirt if I want to wear a t-shirt. I get to, like I get to do whatever I want to do, which I really really love and appreciate about podcasting. It's so fun. It's so much fun.
I love it too. I love it too. I mean, hey, listen, I launched my show as She's Invincible. Now I have 12 men on there. So yeah, and I got to make that decision. I got to make that shift when I realized that, I was passionate about diversity, and here I was making this just about women, So like, and I got to make that change. And I love that we're empowered to do that. We are the boss. I love this, Allyson.
Yeah, I like that. I like that being the boss. But here's the thing. Sometimes we're really bad bosses of ourselves when we've got challenges coming up and overcoming obstacles and things like that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that because we're really in this climate of it's everybody else's fault and I can't move forward. And if only things would change. And, here's 89 reasons why I can't. And I've had to deal with that. I know you've had to deal with that because you're spectacular, but you're also human, just like I am. So what did you do? And what do you continue to do to overcome like the gremlins in your mind and like real world obstacles that show up for you?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing for me is keeping my eye on the goal, like not getting caught up in the everyday thing, but stay present hour to hour because things are constantly changing. So, 1 minute, everything looks like it's falling apart, but maybe it's really falling together. And I try to keep that mindset of that, it's falling together or it's happening for me, right? That whatever it is on the other side of this is going to be better for me. And I can prove it. It has happened over and over again. I've had to overcome so many obstacles on my way, and I'm still on my way, right? I have not arrived. So like until I'm gone, I am still on my way. And every day I look at it as like, oh, what will happen today, right? Or what will today bring for me in my life or my business? And so I'm very open to it. And I've just become very accepting. Now, I wasn't always like that. There were many times early on that I had to prove to myself, right? And there is that test of the proving to yourself that that you can do anything and that nothing is as terrible as it looks or feels, right? And I think that's all part of that overcoming as well. But I mean, listen, when I was 16, I wanted to be a nurse. That was my passion. And then I got pregnant and I was a teenage mom, and teenage moms were not going to nursing school. And so I had to overcome that. And I had to decide like, okay, I can be anything I want. What do I want to be next? And I did that through direct sales. I was in corporate America. So I've had like so many different platforms to test this out. And now I think I've finally found the thing I'm freaking out about and totally passionate about. So, but I say that, but there's something new coming, which I haven't even told you about yet. So fun.
Are you just going to tease me or like, are you?
No, I'll tell you.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So, we are celebrating our 3rd anniversary of our podcast, which we're still ranking all over the world. We were just the #1 podcast in marketing on Good Pods and taken 5 spots. Yes, as top listener, we're in the top 1% of listeners right now, and we're in the top 1% of all podcasts globally. Everywhere in the US, in Canada. It's ridiculous. So every year I try to do something big. So, the first year we launched a podcast. The second year we launched this school, right? So we have now the She's Invincible podcast school. And this year, my friend, Allyson, you're the first to hear this official announcement. But we are launching on a TV network called She Rises, and the She's Invincible podcast is going to be now a TV show on She Rises network.
Oh, wow.
Well
done.
So every year it's something big. I try to always stretch myself and stretch my people. And so that's, but again, we're always faced with obstacles, right?
Yes.
All the time. Yeah. So like, even when I was about to launch my school, my plan was to launch in December. And then my mother got ill and I was like, I just can't. I need to like just deal with that part of things. And so we ended up launching in February. So, it just worked out. Like you just have to let it go and trust that whatever it is what it's supposed to be.
And I think there's the rub, is letting go and trust that what is what is supposed to be for that moment. And I think a lot of people misunderstand what that actually is. Like, you let go, like letting go means, okay, I'm not going to try anymore. Or I'm just gonna accept status quo, and that's not like, you did not do that. You were like, clearly there was something that was a higher priority than that. Your mother had fallen ill, and life happens, and family first. I absolutely believe that. I know you do as well.
Yes.
By virtue of the fact that you pushed off this launch in order so that you can spend time with your mother and make sure that she was all right. But I think so many times we get a little hiccup, which in the moment feels huge to us. And then we're like, this is a sign that God doesn't want me to do this. So I'm just going to go back into my small little box. And then I'm going to wait until the storm passes. And that's not what that is. Like, I really think, I think, first of all, I subscribe to the whole philosophy that the universe conspires to help us and nature is friendly to our desires. But also, when we say, I want to do this, a lot of times the universe says, all right, challenge accepted. What are you going to do with this? Like, do you really mean it? Which is why I really appreciate you said one of the things that you do to overcome things is you keep your eye on the goal, you keep your eye on the prize and stay present in the moment, and then just deal with things as they come. So instead of letting go and just like, it's all over, you let go of the resistance to what's going on, is what I hear you say.
It's true. I've proven to myself over and over again that you just can't control these things. And I really have let go and just thought, okay, so we'll do it later. That was my goal. Nobody really knew what my goal was. Right. So I just had to be okay with it within me, and everything would work out. And it did. And the same thing with the TV, right before the pandemic, I was offered a TV show and I declined it. I didn't know there was a pandemic coming, but I knew that I wanted to be a nomad. I knew I didn't want to have to live in a certain location. And if I took that TV show, I would have to go into a studio every week and have local guests. And I knew that wasn't what I wanted my future to look like. And so I said no. And then we are 3 years later that this one shows up, and this is everything that I wanted. Like, if I could have created it myself, which I did, right? I did. Yeah. I manifested that. Yes. I knew exactly what I wanted. And, I believe that everything you are looking for is looking for you, right? So the people, I did an episode on my podcast about how money is looking for you. Everything you are looking for is looking for you. And you just have to put yourself out there and be found, right? It's like visibility, discoverability. But so many times we hide, we stay back, and we don't put ourselves out there to receive what is actually looking for us.
And then we're like, why aren't things working? Well, are you?
Right. Yeah. They're waiting on God.
Yeah. And God's like, you know what? I work through you. I want you to see how powerful you are to create the business you desire, to create the lifestyle that you desire. And if I just plopped it in your lap, then you wouldn't value it. You wouldn't understand how powerful you are, because I want to co-create this with you instead of just like handing it over to you. Like, I know my kids appreciate so much saving up and buying their own car. They take so much better care of it than if I had just been like, you're 16, here's a car. They would have just, oh my gosh. Well, when they were 16, they were driving our cars and driving it into our mailbox and like rear-ending people in the parking lot. And they're like, oh, whoops, and I'm like, oh, God. Well, okay. When you get to, okay, you get the beater. But I'm not buying you a car. I'm not buying you a will you tell us where you are? We're like, where you're coming from live right now. I want to talk about like as you continue to overcome and as you continue to get up, and as you decide that things are falling into place instead of things are falling apart, like, where did that lead you? Where are you right now?
I am in Aruba. This is the plan that I have been creating for probably the last 7 years. And my plan was to spend the winter in Aruba, so 3 months, to come here to work, to live that lifestyle and avoid the winter, because I live on the East Coast and the winters are usually pretty rough. This year was a little different, but even still. And this is a great part of overcoming, Allyson, is that my plan was 3 months, but I had an opportunity to go to a pod fest, and it was in Florida in the end of January. And I was like, well, I really want to go, so I'll just go to Aruba in February. Now I would stay normally till the end of March, but my son and daughter-in-law are having a baby. And so I was like, well, I'll come home early. So I'm not going to be here 3 months because I made different decisions, but I am here for 1 month and I am avoiding the winter. And I did have to overcome that. The part of, is it really worth it to go through all that for 1 month? And the answer is yes. It's 100% worth it. But I'm able to make those choices to be able to do what I want and make the plans and then adjust as necessary and make the best of every situation. Of course, I want to be home when this baby is born and be there to support my family and welcome this sweet baby. But I want to be in Aruba too. And so I'm always thinking, it's like radar. I'm always thinking, how can I do it all? How can I look at these opportunities in front of me and have everything? And that's what I did. So I'm here. And as I told you, my laptop is on top of a toaster. I'm in my condo. We're right on the water. So the Wi-Fi goes in and out. You never know. But we make the best of it because that's who we are and that's how we live. And it's so fun. I love it.
It is. And I love what you're talking about is timeline. I mean, look at what you said. This has been 7 years in the making, not 7 minutes in the making, or even 7 months in the making. And people need to look at what they're doing is more of a long game instead of like a one and done. I think too that we get fed some misinformation. I'll call it a lie, as far as like, I've arrived, right? Like, nobody ever arrives. Like, think of the person that you admire more than anybody else on the planet. They haven't arrived either. And yet there's this mistaken premise that as soon as I can live in Aruba for 3 months, then I've arrived. And then there's no more obstacles and there's no more challenges and there's no more hiccups. And that just isn't the case. You just get better at letting go of resistance and you get better at like overcoming them.
And it's fun. It's fun to figure it out. You're like, okay, how am I going to work this out? So I'm happy and I'm doing what I want to do. But I love the freedom of the choices. And that brings me to always prosperity. So funny what you just said, though, about you think you arrived. This is the funniest quick story ever. We put like in our phone, the GPS, and we put in where we're going to go. And then we get there. And what does it say when we get there? You have arrived. Right. So I was driving somewhere. It was at home before I got to Aruba. And I put in an address and I never shut the GPS off. And when I got to where I was going, it was a store. And I walked into the store and my GPS loudly and boldly announced, "You have arrived." Allyson, everyone turned around, looked at me. I was like, I guess I did.
You're like, I can't deny it.
I cannot deny it. I have arrived. But yes, if life could only be that easy. And, I hope to never arrive. I try to live my life that every day I'm getting better, stretching myself, doing bigger things, always the things that scare me. I never want to arrive. And when I finally do arrive, well, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
In glory, that I will be smoking and have nothing left inside of me because I will have used everything I ever had on this side. And then I will have arrived. But until then, I'm running this race and I'm taking people with me and I'm having the time of my life.
And you know what? And I think that you're doing it right. I think that you're doing it in a way that is so beautiful and is so inspirational. I completely resonate with that. That yeah, when I arrive, when I lay down this body and I'm in a different form, I want to be the same way, like smoking, and there's nothing left, and like, wow, what a ride! Holy cow, that was amazing. And how many people was I able to like take with me on that journey and journey with them on their own path as well. And what an honor it is to be able to do that with the people who are willing to.
Yes.
But you have to be willing to lean in and get uncomfortable. And I really love that when you're like, you love having new challenges now. I used to hate it. I used to
I
hate
did too.
challenges. I'd be like, oh no, more. Oh, because I kept thinking about how small I was instead of realizing actually this challenge is tailor made for me and it's here right now because I can handle it. And it's actually meant to give me more joy. So if I can
Yes.
look for those things that are going to increase my capacity to receive joy, then and it takes courage at first, but confidence is a byproduct of courage. So we just lean into the courage and we let it be awkward and we let ourselves be clumsy and we just keep doing it and we keep doing it and then it starts looking effortless, and then eventually it becomes more and more effortless, I think.
Yes. 100%. And I think in that journey, I think we as women, we need to stop worrying about what other people think. I think we
Yeah.
need to take on that mantra. It's like, it's none of my business what other people think of me. Like no judgment. You have to just be immune to that, because we as women get caught up in that and that stops us. And
Mhm.
so I love what you're saying. And I just want to add, like, stop worrying about what other people think. First of all, they really are not thinking about you. They really don't care.
So
Trust
true.
me. Trust me. We're so worried about what they think. They're not thinking about us. They're thinking about themselves and how they're going to live their best life. But the journey is amazing and it's so worth it. And you really can have anything you want. You
Yeah.
just have to say yes. And even if you don't know what you're doing, even if you're afraid, even if you've never done it before, you need to say yes and you need to believe that you can do it until you prove it to yourself.
Yeah. And I think especially when you don't know how to do it, especially when you're afraid, if it excites you and clenches your butt at the same time, that is a green light signal to me. And you're ready to up level. You're ready to up level the way that you think, the way that you process. You're ready to up level your skills, your marketable skills. Like I love the fact that you teach marketing, because when I speak with women that are new in business, they are so completely overwhelmed by marketing. And I'm just like, well, marketing is just medicine. It's just your tribe doesn't want to be marketed to. They want medicine. So what's your
Yeah,
medicine for today? Like just
that's
start
right.
there. Like just start there. And I know when you first started your podcast, you didn't know what you were doing. I know that.
Go
We
back and
didn't
listen
know
to
what we're doing.
episode 1.
I
That's
know,
what I love
right?
about podcasting is how evergreen it is. And you can see the growth. Like you can
Yeah.
actually listen to my episodes and be like, oh, she's starting to sound better. Like you get better because you're doing it,
Mhm.
not because you give up on yourself.
Yeah.
Nobody remembers the guy that gave up. They don't, right? We
No, they
get
don't.
good because we're doing it. That's the only way we can get good. We
Uh-huh.
can't even know if we're going to be good. I've had people say, I don't know if I would be good at that. Well, how will you? Like, you can live and die that way, or you can do it and
Yeah.
let's figure this out,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
how long do you want to not know? Right? Like,
Yeah.
let's uncover this. So
Yeah.
I think it's so important that we just need to be open to the possibilities of what is there for us.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I love
So,
it.
so let's talk for just a second about those experiences in life that actually bring us to our knees, and not in like this humble appreciation, but just knock the wind out of us because we didn't expect it, and we do like it takes the wind out of our sails. Whether it's losing somebody that we love, whether it's an investment that goes really bad really quickly, and we're just in a place where we didn't think that we would be. And I know based on where you are that you have had those experiences. How do
Yeah.
how do you navigate through those?
you have to give yourself grace. I think the more you go through that, the better you become at going through that, right? So
Mhm.
I feel like it's resilience and it is like a muscle, right? So the more you work the muscle, the stronger the muscle becomes. And I think that's how we overcome. I think that's how we do it. I mean, it started, well, gosh, I mean, it started when I was 5 and my parents divorced, right? Like I'm 5 years old and my dad's packing a suitcase and leaving. And, that was never the same. And then my grandmother passed, and that was another like big tragic thing for me. There's just been so many in business, in the just, I'd say 4 years ago, I put together a whole company and it was amazing. And I was bringing people in to be coaches in this company. And one of the gals that I presented my plan to, my business plan, she said, I'll get back to you on Monday. And by Monday, she was standing up her own business and announcing it on social media. That she stole my entire business model because I didn't know that I should have the lawyer write up the paperwork and protect it before I even presented it.
Uh-huh.
And then and there was another same company actually that I found out that I was infringing upon someone's trademark because I hadn't done an extensive enough research. And so I had to end that business. So, and change and stop it, and, couldn't use the name. It was totally innocent. I didn't know. And I don't think the company ever found out because I was talking to a lawyer to bring her on as one of the business people. And she did the search and said, I can't come on because it looks like you're infringing and you should do some research on that. So she was so graceful about it. But I mean, there's been so many things, but and it was devastating when it happened. I was like, I just did all this work. I've been promoting this. I've paid for logos and websites, right? Like I was all in, Allyson, and I know you know this because of your own business. But you know what? Looking back, I think if I had gotten that off the ground the way I wanted to, I would have never gotten this podcast, the podcast school, the TV show. And when I measure the two, this is so much sweeter and I'm so much more passionate. So I feel like I was protected. I really, even though it hurt and it was painful and I cried tears, I mean, literally, and I'm not even a crier, but I was like, I lost it, but I could have just given up and said, I'll just go get a job because that's easier. And honestly, it would have been easier at that time. Mm-hmm. But when I look at where I am a few years later, I'm so grateful. I really feel protected. So I think we just have to, every time things like that happen, we remind ourselves that we are protected and that we are, there is something better for us and it's coming. And I think we just can't give up. Yeah. That's what She's Invincible is about, right? It's not about winning. Otherwise we would have called it Undefeated. It's called Invincible because we get back up one more time, right? So we fall down 7 times and we get up 8. And as long as we keep getting back up, we're invincible.
Yes, 100%. 100% yes. And I really appreciate that you allowed yourself those tears. Like even not as a crier. And I think that we tell ourselves, especially us as ambitious driven women, that we're just like, all right, get back up, get back up, get back up, which we do. But there has to be time to allow ourselves to grieve, to allow ourselves to feel that pain and process through that pain. That doesn't mean we check out of life for 3 months. But we feel it and then we move through it.
And we learn from it. Like, here's the thing is we can have these obstacles. And I mean, I believe in failing forward, right? So we can have them. But the thing is, we're better for it if we can accept it, we can process it, and then we learn from it. And then we can carry on. And I think that's part of it, is just separating that and being able to remember the lesson and take it with us, because those next steps, we're brighter, we're stronger, we have more wisdom, we know what to look out for, right? Like it just makes us better. And then the next thing works, and it works until it doesn't. And then we do something else. But every time we stretch and grow, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. Oh, my word. This has been such a fun conversation. And I know people are going to want to know how to find you. I know you also have a freebie for us. So tell us what you got for us.
Yes. So, I have a great freebie, which is creating a brand strengthening message that sells. So what we do in podcast school is we teach you how to be a great guest and how to turn those listeners into paying clients. So we do that through our messaging. And you can find me at my name, KamieLehmann.com. I'm everywhere. That's my website. And everything I do is right there in that one site. So everything's there. Reach out to me if there's anything I can do to support you. Allyson, this is so fun. Thank you so much for having me today. What a joy.
Thank you. And all of those links are in the show notes. So make sure that you click on those. And I have to tell you, Kamie means it when she says, reach out for anything. I was going through a crisis with my son and just happened to mention it. And you spent significant amounts of time on the phone with me, helping with that, and even connected me with a grief counselor. And it was so beautiful. And you didn't have to do that. And I just appreciate that so much. And I appreciate you and what you're doing in the world and how authentic and how refreshing you are. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Allyson, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I even actually forgot that I did that, which is so cool because I'm like, wow, go, right? But that is my mission. And I say this and I assign a lot of messages this way is my mission is your success. And it doesn't matter what that means, if it's in your life or your business or relationships, anything I can do to support someone, I'm here for it. So I really do mean that when I say it. And I'm so glad that worked out for you. And I was able to be a part. It was a gift to me to be a part of that at that time. And so thank you.
Thank you. And to all of you listening or watching, thank you once again. And remember, until next time, prosperity becomes you.